Yours was an extreme mess. We're live.
All righty, I'll bring to order the Community Development Meeting for January 12, 2023. And we have Mark Anderson and Jeremy Barner and myself, Nancy Montgomery, present. So the first thing, Brian gave us the minutes for the last meeting. So if y'all want to look at that, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
I'll make that motion. Am I on?
I have to get closer. Check. I'm on.
I make that motion.
There you go. I second that. I'm good with everything here.
Favor?
Yes.
Aye. Motion passes. Okay, second thing on the agenda is DORA meeting report from Jeremy. You had a DORA meeting last night?
So we were unable to do that because we didn't get it published, publicly noticed in time. So we had to scrap that. So I'm going to wait for Kelly and Mike, who are on that ad hoc committee meeting, to set a new time. And I'm going to announce that from roundtable, excuse me, tonight.
Okay.
It was part and parcel with the gas aggregation meeting thing. We had some struggles with it, with getting them publicized. So that's temporarily put on the back burner until sometime later this month.
Okay, am I asking out of turn, but has the gas aggregation meeting been set?
Okay, so I just got off the phone with Art and he has approved. We're going to go with 2 weeks from tonight before the regular council meeting. So technically the way that works is there's 2 meetings you have, and we're going to have them back to back. We're going to have one at 4:30 and one at 5:15.
We have a budget meeting at
6, right? And we were conscious of that, and we're going to be done by that. So I just got Art's, I literally 3 minutes ago got Art's thumbs up on that. So now, along with the DORA stuff, we have to send that gas egg stuff to the newspapers in time, which means that we're going to have to send it out tomorrow to get it in the News Democrat. And then we're going to send it once to the News Democrat, once to the Brown County Press, and for both of these things, actually. And then we're going to put it on our Facebook page, and I'm going to announce it from Roundtable too. And that will cover what we're...
Get it on some of the other community Facebook
Yeah,
pages.
I should put it on Nextdoor too. I'd forgotten about that. Yep.
Next thing is grand opening of custom printing.
Oh.
If they've been open since December 1st, if you didn't know, and they're in where the chamber was, and they offer a lot of print services. If businesses join the chamber does grand opening for them, but if they don't join the chamber, I kind of stole this from Ripley. Several of their active citizens have been doing grand openings for some of their businesses. So I had talked to him about doing a grand opening for him. We have to set a date yet. I was up talking to him the other day about it, and he was very pleased. And when I talked to Dale about it, because I wanted Dale to, come and say a few words and Art and all that. And I made the point, I said, I'm not doing this as a council member, I'm doing it as a private citizen. And Dale said, well, I don't have a problem with council doing it. So he said, it's welcoming new business and that. So I thought I would throw it out there, just think about it. If that's something we want to do, you want to just, a couple of us can do it and everybody will try to come. Yeah, it doesn't matter to me. I just want to offer these people a grand opening.
Yeah. My comment for what it's worth is I think that's awesome. I'd be happy to do it if it's at a time when I can be in town. But and also don't schedule around me if you don't want
Well,
to.
usually it's done during their regular hours, and they're open Monday through Friday. I think 9 to 5. I think, which would be kind of hard for you.
I can make about 4:30.
But I mean, is that something
But
you
that's-
guys would like to do as a council or a committee? Of course, depending what day, then Mark works nights and, so I mean, I don't know if that's something we want to take on as a council or just everybody who can show up and be supportive. It doesn't matter to me either way, because I'm probably gonna, since I have the big scissors.
Do you?
Yes, I do.
Amen. All right.
From the grand opening when we did the senior park and the
Oh,
dog park, I
yeah,
bought
yeah.
big scissors and ribbons. So, and I've already bought ribbon for this one. But yes, since I have the big scissors,
You're in
I'm
charge.
probably going to be, involved in it.
My view on this is the council should be there as a council if we're not working or if, God forbid, we have family issues. Because, family and work. But I think we should do this as a council. If we can be there.
Yeah, it's just with everybody's different schedules, it's just hard to do, but that's what we can try to set that up.
And I would like to believe that anybody we're trying to, welcome with this would understand if one of us was at work. I don't think they're going to be upset with us doing our
Oh,
job.
I don't
So,
either.
yeah, exactly. So
Well,
let's
somebody
do the
may
best
be
we
sick.
can.
They may be at
Yep.
work, I mean, things happen and I don't think they,
Family issues, I mean, stuff comes on.
So yeah, I say not only that, but I think riffing on this now off the top of my head, I think it'd be kind of cool to make it a sort of standing idea that it sort of like happens new businesses from now in the future. We kind of do this as a kind of in the back of our head. It's kind of our default if we can, and that way, people are welcome as much. As
yeah, I never know. And they ran into this also. If you have people who join the chamber and they do a grand opening for them, you don't do 2 grand openings. But you could do it, we could do something as a welcome to Georgetown.
Yeah.
Have the mayor speak and Art speak, and if any of the council members want to speak, and, we could work something out that way too, because I don't want people to feel like, oh, they don't care if we're here, if we join the, you know what I'm saying? We
right.
want to do something inclusive.
that would be independent of the chamber.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
So you all are for that?
Thumbs up.
Yes.
Alrighty. Next on the agenda is topics for this year. What we want to continue talking about, any new topics. Dora is obviously going to be a topic. Port Authority, that will certainly be a topic in council, but I think it starts here since we're kind of economic development, community development. It's something that was talked about. Well, actually, I talked about it when I was on council before, and I know that Jason Hammond and Art and Dale have all mentioned it in the last 6 months. So that's why I put that down. The Appalachian grants.
Oh, wait. Do you want to hash out the Port Authority thing?
If you want to, I mean, I don't know that we've got enough information to really talk about it.
No. I guess what I'm saying is, do we want to, in full meeting tonight, ask if they want us to proceed with examining it, or because it's a
I think
subcommittee?
we
would
want to get
start
the
here.
information to
we go.
everybody
Okay.
because I think a lot of people haven't done research on it. I know I have sent some information to 1 or 2 council members, but Joe was going to put together some information and that so everybody understood it and that. So I think that's something that we ought to kind of get going. We've talked about it long enough, and I think it's time to get the information out there and make a decision. Excuse me. The Appalachian grants, that's something that will be coming up. I mean, I don't think we can apply till the end of the year.
That $500 million thing.
Mhm.
Okay, I've got a question on that. You know, Mark's sometimes kind of slow thinking, but can we maybe somehow get some of, I know this is a grant, so it's all like gift money from the state or whoever.
But it comes from your tax dollars,
Yeah.
so.
Right. Is there any possible way that they would think that the fiber optics, if we could communicate that through different townships, communities, we could get maybe a grant that way that to fund the fiber optics thing or not? And I should have spoken to you before this, but and I'm sorry, but our job is infrastructure, not this specific committee, but as a whole, our job is infrastructure. And like you said countless times, I don't want to see Georgetown go away like nothing.
Well,
Is there,
go ahead.
but no, go ahead. You
These grants will not cover infrastructure.
Okay.
Now, what they will cover is, for instance, if we were going to do a downtown vitalization, and in that vitalization, we needed to redo electric lines, or we wanted to include fiber, or it has to be part of a bigger plan. They won't just out and out do infrastructure.
Okay. So, and I'm sure you've thought about this because you know more about this than I probably ever will. Well, that's for sure. So if we would word it as revitalize the communications network for the courts and the town buildings, is there any possible way that would work or not?
It also has to be collaborative,
Yeah, I know that's the
not just within our community, but without, I don't know, whatever ended up with the fiber, is it dead and gone?
So, that we do still have as a possibility, the fiber, the original fiber grant, which to my understanding, we have till May to act upon. I believe it is May. This has been not discussed for so long. I confess it's a little bit out of my mind, but it's still viable if we, and I can tell you right now, if you were interested in doing this, Jason would want to know that this is backed fully.
Absolutely.
So is this the right committee to do this at?
Fiber?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, this utilities, either one. probably.
So I'm a little worried about the budget, but could we take a loan out on that fiber thing?
Oh, you can do a loan, you can do bonds.
If you want to. I'm not saying you want to. I'm just saying good.
Right, but you
We
can.
have till May, right?
Yeah, which is not very much time at all.
I understand that.
That's probably something we ought to get Jason to explain to us what we're looking at now.
If the subcommittee wanted to do that, I would happily
I'm
contact Jason.
if we could get a loan so we won't bankrupt the village, I am 100% behind fiber optics because
Depending on, it depend, like with what we first talked about. I mean, I know the Dayton Montgomery County Port Authority would have been happy to buy bonds in that. And, there are other port authorities that do that.
and I know you weren't expecting to talk about this tonight, but this was when I thought about that grant at the house a few days ago. I was thinking, I wonder if that grant might cover fiber optics. But even if it doesn't, I don't want to see Georgetown be a nothing town in 10 years. So if we could do a loan or something, and I know this takes council approval.
Right.
What do you all think about that?
Well, I mean, that was kind of the plan from the beginning.
Okay.
One of the things I'm going to bring up at roundtable tonight, so you can hear it twice. We have gotten so stuck in a rut and just dealing with immediate problems and being reactive. We're not moving forward. We're not progressing at all. And the fiber was brought forward and approved by the majority of, that would have been 2 councils ago, as a means to make us more attractive to businesses and to, as Chris Corsick has said, people with decent income working from home and that. And that was really the purpose of it. And it's gone nowhere. And I have yet to hear any recommendations from anybody who is against fiber, any ideas of what their ideas are to make us more attractive to businesses and make us more, what do I want to say? I guess attractive is the most, but that people would actually want to come here. And I mean, there's a lot of things that go into that, but, that was the main purpose of that. And I certainly still support it, always will. But those who didn't, there's been no alternative. There's been no other ideas presented. And I just think we have got to quit reacting to everything. We need to do that. When problems come up, we've got to deal with them. But we have got to start looking ahead and being proactive on some things. We're never going to get ahead.
Can I speak?
Yes.
Nancy and I talk, I call her Nancy, not Councilman.
It's okay. I'll call you
Councilwoman
Mark.
Montgomery.
We're good.
Nancy and I talk a lot, and I've flip-flopped on certain issues like the splash pad. I was originally against it, and then I changed my mind because the splash pad, I think, is going to bring a lot of business to Georgetown. And I'm just thinking big picture, what's best for Georgetown is jobs. And I think that's what fiber optics would bring, jobs, just like the splash pad. And I hate to flip-flop on Nancy, but I've done it now twice on the splash pad and on the fiber optics. I just look at the big picture. We got to do what's best for everybody for the long haul. After I'm gone, after he's gone, after you're gone, we've got to do what's best for all of us.
And by jobs, we need living wage jobs. We don't need fast food jobs. We need living wage jobs. And
So where do we go from here? You're going to bring this up in the round table?
I don't know.
Okay, well,
I'm bringing up revisiting fiber. We may be here longer than you want to be.
I'm here for the Georgetown public. I'm here for the taxpayers. I'm here for the residents. We might be here a long time anyway, but anyway, I'm in for the long game tonight or whenever. I mean, if I'm here, I'm in for the long game,
Right.
period.
Jeremy kind of spearheaded this. He knows a lot more than I do at this point where we are with the money.
So I would say this, especially if anybody's going to bring it up, I would mention 2 things because this actually started with a discussion about the Appalachian grants.
Yeah.
And actually this all plays into each other. First thing I would say is that in terms of economic development, we have been told that there are people who are interested in developing sizable pieces of land here in Georgetown in an appropriate way, not building a factory on the courthouse square in an appropriate way, that called fiber, quote, a game changer. So we know that people that are interested in investing in Georgetown are very interested in fiber. The second thing I would say is that depending on what you apply for in these upcoming Appalachian grants, you can get points on the rubric, like therefore move yourself up in consideration and a chance of getting the money if you have already begun developing your town, specifically the town core. Fiber and Dora, depending on which Appalachian grant thing you're going for, fiber and Dora would be, fiber especially, would be major tick marks on the rubrics that would get us that Appalachian grant money. In other words, it snowballs. If you show to them that you are investing in your community, then they're more likely to invest in your community. I'm just, not that I feel strongly about this topic at all, but I'm just throwing out there, if we're going to bring it up, there's some things to consider.
Well, and the one thing I want to make clear, I don't want to say most, some areas of the village can get fiber now. And they could when we were talking about it. What we were talking about was affordable fiber, not Spectrum charging an arm and a leg, and that was trying to do it for our businesses and our people so it was actually affordable.
So, I'm sorry, go.
That's okay.
No.
So I know some areas can get it, but I know some areas can't too. So it would just depend where, it's not like they can't get fiber, but they may pay an arm and a leg for it,
So
depending where they are.
Jeremy, you probably know more than this than Nancy, but Nancy was the original person who brought this to my interest. Are you going to bring this up tonight? And I don't mean to put anybody on the spot, but I'm like extremely interested because our job is infrastructure.
Yeah. What do you think, Jeremy? I mean, I think if we've only got till May, we've got to do something.
So on one level, this is easy for me. I've been backing this for 18
Well, so am
months.
I.
Yeah, no, right, exactly. But you're asking me, how do I feel? This is something
how do
I'm
you
passionate
feel?
about.
You've been in the utility meetings and that when they've been talked about.
Mhm.
How do you feel about bringing it up tonight and saying, we've got till May, we need to bring Jason in and look at what some alternatives are and see if those would serve any purpose? I don't want to do it just to do it. I want there to be an absolute purpose for doing it, which I think everybody feels that way.
Well, and to that end, you mean purpose by having fiber in the town, right? Is that
Say what?
you're saying? Having a purpose? Do you mean a purpose in bringing it up to begin with, or to have the fiber?
No, to have the fiber in town. I
Right.
don't want to just
So
fiber here or there, wherever, and
a new thing that has come up within the past 6 months, also grant money, is if you recall, what we install with this original grant has to be village owned.
yes.
However, there is a new bucket of money out there for private companies. A private company would get the grant money to build onto what we already have, which would be acceptable for our original grant because we'd still own the core backbone, but would also be acceptable for their grant because they just simply attach onto it. So if you're talking about, will this go anywhere? Will this do anything? I know that 6 months ago, I could name a company that would be very happy to latch on to our start and go forward. So I think there's a lot of potential. I mean, I could go on for hours, but it's somewhat
So back to my original question,
Yeah.
and forgive me for being kind of simple.
You're good, man.
Are you going to bring us up tonight or not?
Well, I just, we weren't ready to, but I think if we've got till May, we better be starting to. It takes time to get people together and talk about things. And I mean, what would our first step be? Having Jason come to our meeting, having Jason come to council meeting, having Jason come to utility meeting? What do you think would be the first step?
So the first step would be to, so Jason has all of this on ice somewhere. It's just sitting in a file someplace because it's kind of gone by the wayside. And so the first thing we need to do is say, hey, Jason, where are we at in this? And how do we pick it up? Because I don't even know how to pick it up at this point. I know it can be. I know we'd have to put some serious wheels on this. But my first thing would be to call Jason, which I would do tomorrow. I'm telling you, I would do tomorrow, and say, hey, buddy, give me a checklist. What's the next? And give the checklist. happening in the next week. So that would be the next thing. In other words, I don't even know the answer to your question, except that it involves Jason.
Right. What about if I bring it up and I just say, I mean, I'm all for you calling Jason tomorrow. I think we cannot drag our feet on this. And that we've asked you, you know, to call Jason to see where it is, what our options are. And hopefully we'll be able to bring something back. We'll know when you talk to Jason.
So, may I speak?
Yes.
When we need to ask Natalie or Art to do research into who's given loans and what's the lowest loan percent, correct? Because that's probably going to take a while, so that probably needs to start. That process probably needs to start tonight.
Well, and I would think,
I would say that that's a Jason question first.
Yeah.
We might start looking at that Tuesday morning. Okay. Like, cause there's the holiday on Monday. So there's nothing open on Monday. But, I think the two things we would need to do first is one is get Jason's lineup. But I also think too, we really want to hear from everyone in this room, because I'm telling you, Jason is going to be reluctant to move forward unless he feels supported. And I did what I could on that, but you see what I'm getting at here?
so you want me to ask if there's a consensus to continue to look into it?
That's what I would do. I mean, I'm all
Not,
for it.
I mean, they may not like it and they may say, yeah, I can get behind that.
Because the way I look at it, this is me looking big picture. We need to start lining loans up like ASAP. And I'm very sorry it took me a long time, like a year, to get on track with this. I should have listened to you from the get-go, Nancy. But sorry. But anyway, that's the way I look at it. Yes, I would ask for consensus or
To talk to
however
Jason.
you want to do it, because we've got to get loans lined up like ASAP. And I'm big on this, because if we can get, I just don't want to see Georgetown get passed by the future.
I agree. And I may refer to you, they may have questions and you're the one who's been dealing with Jason and that. So if they have any, but you know, I'll just make sure it's okay too. And I understand Jason's stance, absolutely.
So do I, because this is his professional reputation on the line, as well as, lots of other things. And, and I'll be honest with you, another side of this is that for Jason and for Georgetown, if we default on this grant, I don't know what right turn it down, does not look good for us.
Oh, we can forget getting it from the OBRDC in the future.
Exactly. And bluntly, even though it's not his fault, it doesn't look good for Jason.
Right.
So he's kind of caught between a rock and a hard place. As he moves forward without our support, it's rough for him. And if he doesn't move forward, then he's not going to be able to talk to those people ever again.
We're not asking them to decide tonight if they will support what he does. It's just they're supporting for him to look into it further.
That's essentially what I would think.
Okay.
I mean, I don't think we could ask for a vote of confidence tonight. I think it's way too, like, kind of spring it on them.
Right, because until they find out what the project is and everything, none of us can really vote, yeah, I'm for or I'm against it. We got to see what the project is. And, but we need to know that they're open-minded, that at least 4 of us are open-minded,
Right.
you know?
I like that. Yeah. Yes, I agree. As long as we got a game plan, because I should have listened to you a long time ago, Nancy. That was my fault.
I tried to tell you, Mark, just do what I tell you to do.
Do you remember when she told you were supposed to give me $100? Do you remember that?
No.
Come on, man. You'll remember sooner or later. All right. Sorry, Nancy. Go ahead.
That's okay. Yeah, the Appalachian grants, when Art gets better and gets back, I think this committee needs to discuss that and to get more involved. You know, like I say, we probably can't even apply until toward the end of the year. He's been to most of the meetings. I've been to several meetings on it. And it could do some good things. So it's not your typical everyday grant. They're collaborative and transformative, and I just think that, we can get some good ideas of things to do. Anything else you think this year off of the bat? We've got
Yeah, I'm sure this is already set, a date for Kegs with a Cause.
a date for what? Oh,
Yes.
yeah, July 15th,
Okay.
2023.
Although I'm against
I know.
alcohol, although I'm against alcohol, Inlo will be there probably with his icy thing or whatever, smoothie thing. Sorry, Sean, if I misspoke. And some other people be there with kid stuff, and it's a good community event.
Yes. Well, we already have the band. We already have the food trucks. I think Art has already reserved a bouncy house, like some more ideas for stuff for kids to do.
Okay.
But yeah, we're in pretty good shape. We need to have a meeting on that soon. That's Kelly's. Cornette's the chair of, and if she's watching this, she's going, what?
And can I speak?
Mhm.
Okay, you and I talked about this on the phone. I talk to Nancy quite often on the phone, just so you all know. I brought up to Nancy about a frisbee course at the park. I think it would be cheap, and I think it can be done just on trees. Well, I know it can be done just on trees because, well, growing up, Dad, my brother, my father, my brother and I used to play frisbee golf just throwing to trees, not
Mhm.
baskets. Like regular frisbee golf has you throwing these baskets, which I find kind of odd. But Dad, Eric, and I modified it a little bit. But I'm really interested in that because it's like a free thing. It's just painting trees. It says hole 1, hole 2, T1, T2, and then they bring their own scorecard.
Yeah, somebody have to look, see if we've got room and the ability to do that out there on what we've got now. But I think it's a great idea. I think it's a family oriented. I think every age group enjoys it. Like you say, it's free. They got to have a frisbee,
Frisbee and a piece of paper and
Yeah.
a pencil.
I love disc golf. I play all the time. And I think if we used both parts of Hanlon Park, but also back where that Boy Scout trail used to be, back past the dog park.
Yeah, that's good.
So you have technical shots in through the woods, and you have open shots when kids aren't practicing soccer. I think there's a lot of potential there.
There's a problem with that other section there where the Boy Scouts things are, because there's a bunch of glass back there. It's a swamp a lot of the year.
It is a swamp, yeah.
But that is something I think we need to do. Is they had started they called it a 5-year plan for the park last year, 2 years ago, but it was more a wish list. I mean, I think we need to, it was like a swimming pool and a campground and a fishing lake, and I mean, all of which would be wonderful. I don't think any of those are necessarily feasible. And I do think one of the problems is I've done grants and tried to get some other facilities out there. That park was never really planned. They put the ballparks in, and then they put the soccer in, and well, we need the Lions Club put a shelter, and well, we ought to have a playground. Where can we put it? Well, over here. We ought to have a sand that where can we? Well, we could fit that in over here by the, it was never planned. And I think it's probably about as full as it can get. But I do think with the new 20 acres, which who knows when we'll be doing anything with those. But I think that we need a plan. I've heard people recommend like an amphitheater. They'd love to have an amphitheater somewhere. And I think that's a great idea. And, I just think we ought to come up with a plan, and we probably ought to have, there are such things as park planners
We have 20 acres.
that we haven't developed.
Okay, here's a big idea. We put tractor tires, 20 tractor tires out there on the ground. And then I don't know if you guys have watched the NFL Combine
Yeah.
where the players run through these ropes.
Mhm.
We put those on the ground, and then we put big pieces of wood on the ground, and we create a miniature Tough Mudder without the mud.
Or with the mud.
No, the mud costs too much money.
Oh,
But
I didn't know.
well, you could even do that right now with the land we have. But if we're talking big picture, I like people. I like health a lot, regardless of my pop. With just stuff like that would really be interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what we need to do. We need to get these ideas. Do you remember when the park horse was out at the hospital? Did you ever do that?
Oh, I love that. They had
I
monkey
used to go with
bars.
Kelly and
They
we'd
had
do it.
adult monkey bars where, because
Uh-huh.
the kid monkey bars I've done, but I've got to twist my crouch my legs, which is like really hard, because in Tough Mudders they have greased monkey bars, which is hard to hang on to, but they're adult monkey bars. I've fallen off of them, but you do these monkey bars, and yeah, that's cheap. I mean, it's not.
It was, I don't know
costs
whatever
a lot of
happened to
money,
that.
but yeah,
we
like
used to go out there and
have
do that.
adult monkey bars out there. Yeah,
Yeah. It was pretty
just
cool.
like a miniature Tough Mudder without them, but the mud costs too much. I know about that.
Isn't that what it was called? The park horse?
Yeah. I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
If you run it through the swamp where the Boy Scout trail was, there you got your mud right
No,
there.
Jeremy, we're not doing anything with mud. No.
You guys don't have vision.
That's been said before.
We have the
So,
wrong division.
Clearly, I have problems with my vision right now. Yeah.
and I'm not going to bring that up right now. Never mind. So I've got the DORA, the Port Authority, the Appalachian Grants, fiber, 5-year park plan. I mean, it's not like we can't add to these things, but
Sure.
just things that we think are important to address through the year. So if you think of anything else.
Frisbee golf, is that on there?
Oh, nope. I love Frisbee
Because
golf
it's-
off.
The way I look at it.
Do you guys think there's room in the park we've got now?
Yeah.
I feel you could do a 9-hole course, no problem. 18-hole will be a little tough. But I think you could do, because you could squish it, right? And it'd be like not as good. I think you could do a quality 9-hole course because you can make different sizes. I think you could do a quality 9-hole
And
course.
I'm saying even if you could do a 6-hole course, they just play it 3 times, and that's 18 holes. They just
Nah.
pick different starting points, tee points.
100% true.
That's what Eric, my father, and I used to do.
Somebody had mentioned it before. Was it you, Jeremy? Somebody, maybe it was Art. He had been somewhere and they had this great Frisbee golf course. And maybe it was him, but we had talked about it and decided we didn't have enough room or it would be hard with the playing fields and that. But I would just think, especially with the trees around the edges and in the middle and that, but
The park is quite busy during the premium times that people would be wanting to play. That's what would make it hard, I think.
well, yeah, it would depend. I mean,
Peak hours, peak seasons, I think. Is
Like-
what it would be.
yeah.
You know, if you wanted to see a good one, Woodland Mountain has a good one, but it's dedicated to that.
Right.
You know, there's not other stuff going on.
Yeah,
in the
that's
area.
one of the problems with the park is so much of the space and the time is taken up with ball fields. And that really limits what can be done. You know, about 80% of that is ball fields, if not more.
Considering the the audience we currently have in the room, I think if we mixed it with a historical trail where you're doing disc golf from historical site to historical site, and like, Grant's boyhood home is a par 5, and you get down to that, and then you can up
There you
to,
go.
Make it really interesting as you're getting rid of the traffic lights, right?
what's that?
Make it really interesting as you're getting rid of the traffic lights, right?
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Yeah, when Grant was in Scotland, they introduced him to golf on his world tour. And he swung and missed, and he swung and missed, and the third time he swung and missed, and he put the club down and went back, started back to the clubhouse, and said, I can see where it can be good exercise.
Was he at St. Andrews?
And it was, that was
It was golf.
probably, I don't know.
We won't name it the Ulysses S. Grant Frisbee Golf Course. Okay, anything else before we go to the upcoming meetings? That's all I had. Did you guys have anything else?
No, we.
Okay,
Yeah, I will. Yes, no, I'll talk to Kelly and Mike about Dora and announce that from roundtable. So it's then, not now. So I think we're good. Yep.
okay. So next Thursday, January 19th, Brian, if you'll make sure these are advertised at 5 PM in here, we have an ad hoc signage meeting. And the same night at 7 PM, we have a cemetery board meeting. And that will be the 3 of us and the cemetery trustees.
Wait, what day is that, Nancy?
The 19th,
19th. Good.
we'll have time to run and grab something to eat.
That's what okay.
If you want to wait till after, whatever, but I don't know I don't know how long, Art called me the other day and wanted more information to get the blanks. Because I said, we wanted to see the signed blanks to know what size, especially on the peripheral entrances. And he was talking to the guy, so I think he'll have those by then. And we can pick that out. And
How much time do we have?
17.
we have, yes, 17 minutes.
I need to talk to you after this meeting before I forget something.
Okay.
Cross your fingers. So you don't want to cross them too, remember.
So anything else?
Not for me.
No.
If not, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Yes.
Second,
All in favor?
Yes.
Aye.
I will go turn Brian, you get the live feed off? One more button. And we're off.